Hey everyone, William Ferner here today with a new Hero Factory Classic review for you guys. This time we'll be taking a look at Waspix from the 3.0 Savage Planet Summer 2011 wave. So we're going to start off with the box here. We have Waspix on the front. A little fun fact about this is that her, I'm going to call it a her because in the show it is depicted as a female. But her original name was just Wasp, prototype name from the leaked images and from not Comic-Con, I almost said Comic-Con, I meant Toy Fair. But they obviously changed it to Waspix, which, I mean, it's just not so generic anymore, I guess. But yeah, we have Waspix on the front, and then on the back, she goes up against Furno, which makes sense because they both fly. So that's the box. As for the instructions, we won't really get into the actual build itself, since by today's standards it's considered pretty simple. We have Raja versus Bulk on the back here. And then we have an advert for the game and the Creep Crushers game. I remember this game. You would have had to enter the code from the top of a hero canister to unlock the hero. You got Hero Factory FM and the Hero Factory Builder, and then you got, like, I don't know, I guess there was a comic book creator of some sort. And then the Recon team, which allowed you to build and design your own character and ship it to your house in a custom box and all that stuff. But let's actually get into Waspix here. Now first I'm going to go over like the parts that maybe were cool with this set when it came out. There's not a whole lot. Most of the yellow stuff we've seen before, but we do actually have this yellow torso armor, so that is recolored. We also have this new add-on here. This is more of like a spiny add-on. It's black, obviously, and it just kind of represents kind of a spine or a spike, something like that. And then we have these blade pieces jutting out from her wrists right here. Now these weren't actually new, these were Ben 10 parts I believe, but I really like how they are, the composition of them. The plastic is a little more malleable, the connection is a little bit smoother, so when you connect it you'll just get that more quiet, smooth feel when moving the part around. And then these are new print. We have these yellow kind of, I guess, waspy looking design on the shell. I think yeah, these are definitely not new because they have the original joints on them, so they were probably used in the Glatorian years of Bionicle. On the back here actually we have size 8 trans yellow armor. This is an incredibly interesting piece just because it's trans yellow, and trans yellow is not a common color within Construction. So that is kind of interesting that we got two size 8 trans yellow, again, not trans neon green, not that newish trans yellow color we get a lot, way too much, especially in Bionicle G2, but this is actually a trans solid yellow, not a solid yellow, but you get what I mean, it's a trans version of this. So that's what that is. And then we have these new quasi-spike parts, which in this case are connected very solidly because they're connected with 2 pins and everything. And then of course the dark gray bones, which were new at the time. And then the mask. Obviously the mask connects through 2 pins, so you don't exactly get that eye color in the back. It's just a solid mask. It's a solid yellow. But for what I think this conveys kind of the gangly looking wasp kind of feature really well. I like the designs. I like how they have eyes on it. Kind of reminds me of an iguana actually a little bit, more than anything. But yeah, that is for the new parts. Articulation wise, there's actually a ton more articulation on this figure than there standard wise there's a ton more. We actually have these like knee type bone pieces here without armor on them, and these allow you just to kind of get some more dynamic poses. You can kind of have her look like she has chicken legs in the back. That's kind of weird looking, kind of like a later set named XT4. Or you can just make her look like she has longer legs with just kind of bigger knees, longer knees, if you really want to do that. Obviously in the arms up here we also do have less armor coverage, and we get the standard points for articulation, except we have 4 arms, which is connected very nicely in the back here. We can get full range of motion out of these arms. There is just 2 arms that are back farther than the front 2, but that's not a huge problem at all. That works out pretty good. Just move the camera down here. And this ends up making a taller figure, so you're going to get a lot more height out of this figure, except Waspix does kind of hunch over a little bit, especially in the neck region, so she might appear a little bit shorter to some than usual. I would say that I'm going to give the lack of armor coverage on this set a pass. There is an open ball joint back here, which I guess could have been covered up by something. But the lack, I can give it a pass just because it seems like the general aesthetic for the summer 2011 wave. They want to look a little skinnier, a little more nimble, because they are living on, or they are adventuring or exploring on this savage planet, which probably requires a little bit more flexibility. And I just generally think it's just something that these characters look like. You think of summer 2011, you can now think of less armor coverage from now on, thanks to me. But I don't exactly consider it a con, but some people might consider that a con about this figure. I mean, I think it's kind of a little bland. I think it was starting to show what LEGO could really do with this system. Where they started attaching forelimbs to a character. I think with the 2.0 villains, they were sort of getting started with these appendages that they were trying to build, these bigger, more gangly looking villains, and I think Waspix is a decent representation of what they had figured out they could do. It again, by today's standards, this stuff is pretty simple. I mean, if you look at Bionicle G2, they did a lot more complexities than they did with this, but I think, you know, as a kid, when you buy this set, and it's like one of the first Hero Factory sets, I believe, with 4 arms, or, you know, CCBS set with 4 arms, and you get a lot of nice spike pieces and just cool yellow pieces. I think that this ends up being quite a decent set. It stands out pretty well in the story. It's basically just a mind-controlled animal, which, unfortunately, that's the only reason this wave kind of rubs me the wrong way, is because Hero Factory generally, for half of Hero Factory's run, they relied on brainwashed animals to represent villains, except the thing about these villains is that they were a lot more distinct from each other. They all had different things that they had, like the spikes are in different places. I remember with the brains were all in the same place. With the beasts, they all kind of looked similar to each other because they had the same head. At least with these, we get a more diverse palette of villains that they could be going up against. And we also get Witch Doctor, who is not a controlled animal. He is the controller. So I think Waspix stands out very nicely among the villains that we do get in this wave, and I think Waspix comes with a lot of nice bone pieces if you're into constructing with bone pieces, and I think Waspix also comes with nice yellow parts. But those trans yellow parts, if you have this set, if you have them, they're purely just, unless you actually have an idea to buy more of these, or maybe you have some trans yellow system pieces, because they don't really make them in CCBS a whole lot. I think it was only on this set actually. Then you might have some trouble mocking with them, so they might just stay there. They might just kind of sit in your collection a little bit, but they are nice pieces to have. There's a lot of cool pieces on this set. There's a lot of cool things about it. So overall, I'm going to give Waspix an 8 out of 10, and the only reason that's a little bit lower, like normally with a set I talk about this nicely, it would get like a 9 or even a 10 out of 10. The reason I give it an 8 is because it doesn't stand out for me, like as a person. When I was a kid, I bought this. I don't think Waspix ever stood out to me at all. It just wasn't one of the ones that I was going straight for when I went to the store. Therefore, I just think it's a little bit bland looking. Again, it's a cool set, just not amazing looking. It doesn't jump out at you like some of the other stuff does. So that's it for Waspix. Next I'll be doing Raw Jaw, and I'll see you guys later.